Sa, to protect, guardianship. Chapter 3, mental transmutation. Transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration are realities, be they mind, flesh, metals. As we have stated, the Egyptians were the original alchemists, astrologers, and psychologists, Tehuti having been the founder of these schools of thought. It was called Haka. From solar biology, astrology, and modern astronomy has come. From alchemy has grown modern chemistry. From the mystic Wahab priests has grown the modern psychology of the schools. But it must not be supposed that the ancients were ignorant of that which modern schools supposed to be their exclusive and special property. The records engraved on the stones of ancient Egypt show conclusively that the ancients had a full comprehensive knowledge of solar biology, which gave birth to the zodiac, and astrology, speculative, and astronomy, operative. The very building of the Pa Marat, the pyramids, showing the connection between their design and the study of the stars, mainly Septet, Sirius, and Sahu, Orion. The Egyptians were master astronomers. They were not ignorant of chemistry. They, in fact, were the mothers and fathers of all learning. The fragments of the ancient writings show that they were the masters of chemical properties of things. In fact, the ancient facts regarding psychics are being slowly verified by the latest discoveries of modern science, notably those relating to the constitution of matter, things the ancient Egyptians knew all along. So, you have discoveries means discover, to uncover things already known. Now that the atom has been exposed to not be the smallest of all things in existence, they were not ignorant of the so-called modern discoveries in the working of the mind. On the contrary, the Egyptians were especially skilled in the science of the working of the mind, particularly in the branches that the modern schools ignore, but which nevertheless are being uncovered under the name of psychic science, paranormal, which is perplexing the psychologists of today and the religious leaders, and making them reluctantly admit that there is something in it after all. The Egyptians had the secrets. The Europeans did not know anything, had no sciences or knowledge. They were blinded by their own white light. The truth is that beneath the material, chemistry, astronomy, and the working of the mind, that is, the physical and mental workings of the brain action, the ancients possessed a knowledge of transcendental astronomy, operative, called astrology, speculative, of the transcendental chemistry, called alchemy, of transcendental psychology, called mysticism. They possessed the inner knowledge as well as the outer knowledge, the latter alone being possessed by modern scientists. Among the many secret branches of knowledge possessed by the Egyptians was that known as mental transmutation, which forms the subject matter of this degree. Transmutation is a term usually employed to designate the ancient art of the transmutation of metals, particularly of the base metals into gold. The word transmute means, quote, to change from one nature, form, or substance into another, to transform. And accordingly, mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So you may see that mental transmutation is the art of mental chemistry. If you like the term, a form of practical mysticism. But this means far more than appears on the surface. Transmutation, alchemy, or chemistry are on the mental plane, the fourth plane. The first being the physical, the second being the plane of force, the third, the spiritual plane, and the fourth, the mental plane, is important enough in its effects, to be sure, and if the art stopped there, it would still be one of the most important branches of study known to mortals. But this is only the beginning. Let us see why. The first of the 9 Tehuti doctrine is the doctrine of mentalism, the axiom of which is the all is mind. This is not true, for the mind is in the all, and the all is in all. And the universe is mental, and the universe is in the all, which means that the underlying reality of the universe is mind. Mental and etheric cords connect each mortal to a mind, and the universe itself is physical and mental, that is, existing in the mind of Pa-Tem-Ta, the all, in two forms, physical and mental. We shall consider this doctrine in succeeding degrees, but let us see the effect of the doctrine if it be assumed to be true. If the universe is mind in its nature, is God, or the grand architect of the universe, Yahweh, Allah, Theos, then the mental transmutation must be the art. I'm going to read this over again. If the universe is mind in its nature, is God, or the grand architect of the universe, Yahweh, Allah, or Theos, then mental transmutation must be the art of changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of matter, force, and mind, solid, liquid, gas, person, places, or things. The triad doctrines. So you see, therefore, the mental transmutation is really the magic of which the ancient writers had so much to say in their mystical works, and about which they gave so few practical instructions. If all be mental, then the art which enables one to transmute mental conditions must render the master the controller of material conditions, as well as those ordinarily called mental. As a matter of fact, none but advanced mental alchemists have been able to attain the degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as control of the elements of nature that would make them a god or supreme being, the production or cessation of tempests, the production and cessation of earthquakes, rain, hail, and other great physical phenomena. These beings were gods. But that such mortals have existed and do exist today is a matter of earnest facts to all advanced occultists of all schools, which all came from Egypt. The Pa-Nebat, the masters, exist and have these powers. The best teachers assure their students, having had experiences which justify them in such realities and statements. These Neterat, supreme beings, do not make public exhibitions of their powers, but seek seclusion from the crowds of mortals as mortal living and acting as the normal in order to better work their way along the path of attainment and to bring others with them. We mention their existence at this point merely to call your attention to the fact that their power is entirely mental and operates along the lines of the higher mental transmutation under the Egyptian doctrine of mentalism. The universe is mental, and mental is in the all. But students of lesser degree of the Pa-Neterat, the supreme beings, the initiates and teachers are able to freely work along the mental plane in mental transmutation. In fact, all that we call psychic phenomena, mental science, new thought phenomena, etc., operates along the same general lines, for there is but one doctrine involved, no matter by what name the phenomena be called. The student and practitioner of mental transmutation works among the mental plane, transmuting mental conditions, states, etc., into others, according to various formulas, more or less efficacious. The various treatments, affirmations, denials, etc. of the schools of mental science are but formulas, often quite perfect and scientific, of the Egyptian art. The majority of modern practitioners are quite ignorant compared to the ancient masters, for they lack the fundamental knowledge upon which the work is based. Not only may the mental states, etc., of oneself be changed or transmuted by the ancient Egyptian order methods, but also the states of others may be, and are, constantly transmuted in the same way, usually unconsciously, but often consciously by some overstanding the laws and doctrines, in cases where the people affected are not informed of the doctrines of self-protection. And more than this, as many students and practitioners of modern mental science know, every material condition depending upon the minds of other people may be changed or transmuted in accordance with the earnest will and treatments of people wanting to change conditions of life. The public are so generally informed regarding these at present that we do not deem it necessary to mention the same at length, our purpose at this point being merely to show the Egyptian doctrine and art of and art underlying all of these various forms of practice, good and evil, for the force can be used in opposite directions according to the Egyptian doctrine of polarity. In this little book, I shall state the basic doctrine of mental transmutation, that all who read may grasp the underlying doctrines and thus possess the Ankh master key that will unlock the many doors of the doctrine of polarity. I shall now proceed to a consideration of the first of the Tehuti 9 doctrine, the doctrine of mentalism, in which is explained the truth that the mental is in the all and that each individual receives mental impressions in the mind. The universe is mental, in the words of Tehuti. I ask the close attention and careful study of this great doctrine on the part of my students of the ancient Egyptian order, for it is really the basic doctrine of the whole Egyptian teaching and of the Tehuti art of mental transmutation. Let's get it. Peace. And may you continue to seek the knowledge and information that will help you to break free from the handcuffs and the confines of the mental prison that you have grown up in. The Matrix is real. And I am Morpheus. You are the one. I know it. So peace. And bless yourself.